आँखों से गुस्ताखियाँ माफ हो. Time, Lata ji and Asha ji were iconic, and the songs we used to get to sing were generally their scales. Now, what Lata ji and Asha ji used to sing at that time to suit also the male voices. When you're singing a duet, it's a male-dominated profession. So if Rafi Saab or Kishore Da and all were singing and Manna Dey with very high ranges, the female had to sing in very high scales. So for me, that there was this fear that I will not be able to hit my high notes. Song would have more male lines.
Yeah, okay.
And there are songs that the whole song has been male line and female has got 3 lines in it. Whereas you really feel, the heroine's lines are so less in this. But now, even in these functions, if I see them, girls are singing their stuff, they're emancipated, they have their managers, they have their own, enterprise, and they are maybe doing it as much as any other male singer. I don't see those problems. At least as far as I'm not actively in the film industry so much now, but I've not noticed it as such. There's nothing in this world that can force you to do anything which is unethical. You cannot, if you try not to fall into that temptation of being unethical, it could be a more difficult path to lead an ethical life and to do your work. It could be a very difficult path. But if you choose that path, stick to it, you'll find the answers some way. It's not necessary to be unethical to reach a path of success.
What was it like? What were the difficulties that you faced as a female artist? And what can new singers, the new crop of singers, learn from the conditions that they are in? What were the difficulties that you faced?
Difficulties I faced is one thing. Difficulties facing as a female artist, that didn't happen to me. I didn't especially feel that because I was a female artist, I faced difficulties. No, that didn't happen because to a certain extent, though I joined in the 70s and I was singing with the Manna Dey uncle on stage, I was singing with Mr. Hemant, Kumar on stage. And then subsequently, when I started singing with Laxmikant, Pyarelal, somehow they all were like elder brother figures to me, father figures, elder brothers. They were all older to me. And somehow their attitudes towards me was very protective, as if Lakshmiji used to treat me as a younger sister, He used to be very protective. Even Pyare Bhai, they treated me with utmost respect at a time when I was a non-entity. Because I started dubbing songs for Lataji. That's how I started with them. I would sing for the shooting, and ultimately Lataji would sing for the album. But though I was dubbing for them and my name would not be on the record, not a single person in the studio treated me like a non-entity. There were 100 musicians. They would all treat me with respect. And sometimes, in Mehboob studio, there would be this big audit hall where I had to go and stand in the middle and sing with all of them around me playing the music. And the arranger would be there, and Pyare Bhai would be listening from the cabin, and Lakshmi ji also would be standing somewhere next to me. But sometimes I was the only female in the hall, because all the violinists, all the other musicians, once in a while we would have somebody like Zareen ji playing the sarod, who was another lady. But otherwise, and the chorus singers were ladies. But if there was no chorus and no Zareen ji, then everybody, they were all men. But somehow, I've never felt uncomfortable. Mainly because probably I sometimes feel that, it's how you portray yourself, how you conduct yourself. For a female, it's very, very important how you conduct yourself. And I would say that everything counts. It's how you behave, the kind of clothes you wear. When you're walking into a studio, the kind of clothes, the kind of vibes that you give, everything is very important. If you give the vibe of a person who is very, very committed to music, but not interested in anything else, the signals are very, very clear that this is not somebody to be tampered with. This person has come to do the job, she's going to sing and she's going to leave the studio after that. And there's no fraternize, I would say, to stay in the studio, fraternize with all the musicians, those things didn't happen. You sang, you took your money and you left. So I think those kind of things protected me. And of course, I had initially for the first few years, I had my mother with me every time, So that was another form of protection for me. So I never went through what is called female problems. Only problems I would feel was, sometimes at that time, Lataji and Ashaji were iconic. And the songs we used to get to sing were generally their scales. Now, what Lataji and Ashaji used to sing at that time to suit also the male voices. When you're singing a duet, it's a male-dominated profession. So if Rafi Saab or Kishore Da and all were singing and Manna Dey with very high ranges, the female had to sing in very high scales. Now, everybody doesn't have that kind of range, okay? So when I used to come to the studio, I had to sing songs for Lataji. So sometimes the song would be incredibly high. Laxmikant's songs would be incredibly high. So for me, that there was this fear that I will not be able to hit my high notes. So my problems were mainly technical, how to handle this song. So all the problems came with technicalities and tensions of reaching studios on time, because I would finish one song and have to rush to it. So if there is 100 musicians, 80 musicians waiting there as a singer, if my earliest song doesn't get done on time and I reach the second studio late, there are so many people waiting for me. All those kind of tensions I had, but I had no tensions of being a lady or a female singer, because the signals I think I gave to the people around me was pretty clear that I was a middle class girl who really wanted to sing well, and I've come to do my work and no nonsense. And also another thing, I never had to dress to kill. I was so simply dressed, as if simple salwar kameez, simple sari, no makeup, maybe just a lipstick and a bindi and stuff. So there was no shor sharaba, and those days there was no social media. Nobody recorded my song after I finished. So it's not that I had to be dressed up well, that gaane ke baad aap lip sync karo. That was not that. You finish your song, you take your money, you go home. If there is a platinum disc award function, that day you dress up a little bit, come and take your platinum disc and go home. Subhash ji calls you कि कर्मा का platinum disc है, आप आ जाओ. आप singers को मैं जल्दी छोड़ दूंगा, आ जाओ. तो platinum discs, our names are announced first. We take it, and before people have even opened their bottles and started to drink at the parties, we were back home. So I really didn't have to struggle through at all. In fact, I think I saw a really, really, what I call it, a renaissance period of my life, where I worked with musicians like Manna Dey, Louis Banks, and Kersi Lord, and Zareen Daruwala ji, Hari ji, Shiv ji. All the top people were playing in the industry at that time. And they were all wonderful people, and I got to really sing with them in the studio with live music. Then cut to the portions where singing a duet where my male singer is also not with me. I'm just singing my part alone. It's never the same. It's never the same. And now cut to singing one phrase, by the way, singing one phrase and pitch correction now. Technically, it's come to that now.
Yes, but gender inequality, that women face at workplace, like pay gap, men being given extra attention, was that never existent, for you?
What happened in a song, you see, sometimes the song would have more male lines.
Yeah, okay.
And there are songs that the whole song has been male line and female has got 3 lines in it. Whereas you really feel, the heroine's lines are so less in this. So those kind of, and then sometimes, as I told you, the scale would be more male dominated.
Yeah.
So you would have to adapt. So it was all more a technical thing. And also maybe because at that point of time, honestly, even during those times, you won't believe it, I've never worried in my life about being number 1, number 2, number 3. That worries is never had. So I never had that killing instinct ki, मेरे male singer को क्यों इतना मिल रहा है, मुझे क्यों नहीं मिल रहा है. I never thought about it. जो गाना मिल रहा है, do my best job and go back. And it seems to have paid off. It seems to have paid off for me.
But do you think things have changed right now because of social media, so much awareness and people getting a platform, to share their views? Do you think these issues of gender inequality, pay gap, men being given, more importance, professions being male dominated are now being highlighted? Do you think it's nice that these issues are being highlighted?
Not in music. I see now a lot of course, it's opened up. Now there are so many male singers, so many female singers, and I see everybody's putting up their stuff and everybody's trying to build up their images. And I see girls are very emancipated now. Even in these functions, if I see them, girls are singing their stuff, they're emancipated, they have their managers, they have their own, enterprise, and they are maybe doing it as much as any other male singer. I don't see those problems. At least as far as I'm not actively in the film industry so much now, but I've not noticed it as such.
Yes. So on Women's Day, what is that message that you would like to send out to all your female viewers and who've only been drawing an inspiration from you?
Well, I'd like to say that, you have a certain conviction about your abilities and you have a certain conviction that you can do that. And if you have a dream, just go ahead and pursue the dream with as much hard work and sincerity, and don't worry about your being a male or a female. At that point of time, do what is your best, and keep faith in yourself. You can do it. There is no such thing as you can't. There will be difficulties in your path, but you just try sincerely. Sometimes these hurdles will clear up for you suddenly from up somewhere. The light will come in your path, and the path will clear up. The hurdles are sometimes in the beginning of your career, in the beginning of your life, but you have to. And at the same time, I'll say there's nothing in this world that can force you to do anything which is unethical. You cannot, if you try not to fall into that temptation of being unethical, it could be a more difficult path to lead an ethical life and to do your work. It could be a very difficult path. But if you choose that path, stick to it, you'll find the answers some way. It's not necessary to be unethical to reach a path of success. No need to be unethical. You keep your faith in God, you keep your faith in your abilities, keep courage. I don't see any reason why you won't go ahead. You will go ahead. There is somebody who takes care of your dreams. And if he sees the sincerity and commitment, that same person will be ashamed and will help you in life. That's what I feel. You don't have to go looking for godfathers. Godfathers will come on their own,